This book, Sophie's World, was in its day an international bestseller. It's really an introduction to philosophy, which may not make it sound like a page turner, but it's set up as a novel and is a great read. Let me read a small section for you. What is the most important thing in life? If we ask someone living on the edge of starvation, the answer is food. If we ask someone dying of cold, the answer is warmth. If we put the same question to someone who feels lonely and isolated, the answer will probably be the company of other people. But when those basic needs have been satisfied, will there be something that everybody needs? Philosophers think so. They believe that man cannot live by bread alone. Of course, everyone needs food, and everyone needs love and care. But there is something else, apart from that, which everyone needs. And that is to figure out who we are and why we are here. So there we have two big questions. Who am I and why am I here? Philosophical questions, yes, but deep theological questions for sure. Who am I and why am I here? The first of these questions is one of identity, and the second is one of purpose. Today, we're going to think on the first question, who am I? This question of our identity. And next week, we'll consider the second. Why am I here? What's the point of me being on earth? What is my purpose? The author of Sophie's World offers us two thoughts as we begin this quest of discovering our identity, who I am. He begins by saying that we begin to discover who we are when we discover that we're not just ourselves. In other words, that there are others around us, and that it's in connecting with them that we begin to discover who we are in terms of our connectedness to others. Maybe we can think of it this way, that it's impossible to understand ourselves without thinking about all those around us. Look for a moment at the pebbles on this stony beach. You could hardly think of one without the others. They somehow belong together. The second thing he suggests, and this is a new addition to the original writing of the book, he says that we begin to understand who we are when we realise that we are connected with the world in which we live. And he goes as far as to say that we can't understand who we are. We'll never have a true sense of our identity unless we understand that it's somehow wrapped up in our connectedness with where we are. So two things as we begin to answer. First of all, our identity is in our connectedness with other people and in our connectedness with the environment. As for our connectedness to the creation, Right at the beginning, the book of Genesis makes it abundantly clear that we are part of what God has made. We have a special place within that. We are set as stewards over creation, but nonetheless we are part of it, and our connectedness to it is vital to who we are. I wonder who you see when you look up close at yourself. Who are you? What is your identity? In recent years, of course, we've seen the rise of so-called identity politics. We hear people saying all the time, I identify as this or that or the next thing. I guess as I think about myself, my Scottishness is important to me, but I also understand myself to be British. I think about myself as a male, as a husband, as a father, as a son. There are so many aspects to how I might define myself. As I look to answer the question, who am I? Everything that I've described so far is important to me. My connectedness to others, my connectedness to the creation, and those other things that I've mentioned. My sense of who I am in relation to the place I come from, the people I'm part of, and my understanding of myself in relation to family, those who are immediately around me. All of that is important as I think about my identity, who I am. But as a Christian, there's something more. Of course, there's something much more. Right there at the very start of John's Gospel in the first chapter, we hear the phrase, children of God. Children of God. Now friends, here is the key ultimately to who I am. Ultimately, my identity is as a child of God. Yes, all those other things matter in terms of how I piece together my understanding of who I am. But they are all arranged underneath this key and crucial and most important conviction that first and foremost I am a child of God. This underpins everything else. And without that, there's something essential missing. I am a child of God. That's who I am. That's who I identify as. My relating to other people, my relating to this planet, all flow out of the fact that first and foremost, I am related to a loving God who in his grace and through his Son has declared me to be his child. It's on this solid rock that I build, this firm foundation of being a child of God. And this is my identity. This is who I am. But even then, there's something else that must be said, and it's this. I am only a child of God because of what Jesus has done for me. Because Jesus came into the world for me, because Jesus lived his life for me, and in the end, because Jesus gave his life for me. That's why I can say with confidence, in response to the question, who am I? I am a child of God because of Jesus. Friends, let us never, ever take that for granted. Let us never, ever become blasé about this truth that Jesus gave himself for us, that we might be children of God. Let us then keep his cross ever before us as a reminder of this truth. Let us hold fast to his cross. By the cross, we are children of God.
When I survey the wondrous cross on which the Prince of Glory died, my richest gain I count but loss, and full contempt on all my pride. Forbid it, Lord, that I should boast, save in the death of Christ my God. All the vain things that charm me most, I sacrifice them to his blood. See,